Elton John's Circle of Life comes to my mind right now for today's conversation on Easy Rightsizing with Janine Bryant of Changing Spaces SRS. And yes, we are practicing proper physical distancing. Janine is on the phone with me for the show today. Happy weekend. Good morning, Janine.
Good morning, Dale. Hello.
Well, just as my mom and dad helped me move out when the time was right in my life, it may be time for our good listeners to help mom and dad move to a space that is easier to maintain. And we talk about that today on Easy Rightsizing. And I'll start. For me, it was college, Janine. Mom bought all the towels and the bedding and the very limited pieces of furniture that I needed for that. And Dad provided the gas for the pickup to move me out. But do you have a moving out story?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, for me, it was college as well. Yep, they loaded up the Suburban and a car, and they drove me. I'm from North Dakota originally, and I went to college in Iowa. So it was a 6-hour drive, and it seemed like it was the other side of the world to me. I was pretty homesick that first year, but yeah, same story. They loaded everything up and helped me move out. And, you know, that is one of the most clear memories in my head of my young adult life. And it's so interesting to me when I'm working with clients, with seniors and older adults, and I can see that their adult children are now doing for them what they did for their children so many years ago. It is that perfect circle of life.
It was emotional then for mom and dad, and now it's emotional for the children to move mom and dad into that mom and or dad into that more manageable space. And it's an emotional situation that you and your staff are keenly aware of at Changing Spaces SRS.
It is, and we feel privileged to be privy to those kind of situations because those are some of the big moments in life. And we are right there with our clients week in and week out as they are going through these huge life transitions. And it's really an honor, I think, that we are there to witness that and to see. You know, really, I think it's so interesting because we're able to see some families who handle it really well and other families who struggle. And, you know, it is difficult for all families. And it's just really given me such a valuable lesson of seeing that circle of life, the pattern of life, and realizing that each and every one of us is going to end up in that spot at some point in our lives, if we're lucky enough. You know, if we are lucky enough to make it to old age, chances are we're going to need some help from our children or from those around us who we have helped throughout the years.
Might seem like a negative for some people, but it's a positive thing in so many cases.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I think it's a real opportunity for growth, and it's a real opportunity for children to strengthen that bond with their parents. But it absolutely can be difficult. It's a difficult transition to experience that role reversal. You know, I think all of us view our parents as not necessarily being old people, right? In my mind, my dad is still 45 years old, right? Even though I'm almost 40 myself. In reality, he's 75 years old, and it can be difficult to see your parents getting older. Or if you're the one who's getting older, it's difficult to see yourself sometimes getting older. And admitting that you need help or accepting help from your children or, you know, offering that help to your parents. Particularly, I mean, we've seen families who they know their parents need help, but sometimes it's hard to kind of usurp that power. You know, Dad's always been the one in charge in our family, and now even though he's down the road to dementia, he's still in charge, and no one really wants to take over and step in and help him with the finances or help him with, you know, the logistical things of life. So I just consider it a huge privilege that we're able to see that transition over and over again and see it play out in so many different kinds of families. I think it is a real gift because it's helped me think about how I want to navigate that kind of a transition in my own family.
You help so many people in what for them could be a difficult part of their life. Would you mind sharing an example, a story of someone that has come into your life and you've come into their life through Rightsizing?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, we've seen this play out so many times, but I remember recently we worked with a gal who she was an older woman and she was moving out of her home she'd been in for 40 or 50 years. moving to an assisted living community because it wasn't safe for her to be in her home anymore. And her daughter, her only daughter, lived out of state and was working full time. And so it was a huge stress on the daughter. The daughter spent many nights awake worrying about her mom. And it really became time that the mom move out of the home and into an assisted living. So the daughter took the time off of work, flew back here to Lincoln to the house where she grew up in to help her mom through this process of downsizing and moving. And so the complexity there is many layered, because not only is the adult daughter sort of taking the reins of her mom's life and helping her through this transition, but the adult daughter is also saying goodbye to the home that she grew up in and that she remembers her childhood in. And this daughter that I'm thinking of in particular, she was kind enough to share with us and our team all of the things that her mother had done throughout the years to help her parents and her grandparents, and she'd helped an aunt go through this transition. And so now it was time for us to help her, the mother. And so it was just one of those times that so accurately exemplified this circle of life. And I think about that. There's a quote from the Bible, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, I believe, for everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven. And I just love that phrase, because that is something that I see in my work all of the time. To everything there is a season. And, Dale, even during this time when we are doing this social distancing, because of the coronavirus, I have heard this phrase, "This too shall pass." Mm-hmm. I've heard that from so many people, and honestly, most of the people who have said that to me have been an older adult. And I think it's so interesting, because the reason they have that perspective, of course, is because they have so much experience and they have seen so many things come and go, and they know, they have that wisdom that sometimes only comes from experience, that good or bad, this too shall pass, and that things change. And for what I have seen is that the families and the older adults who age most successfully and who navigate a big transition like this most successfully are people who understand that. People who understand that this too shall pass, that the only constant in life is change, and that I think if you can find the most peace if you really accept that and accept the fact that things change and there's nothing we can do to stop it. And that's hard for me. I mean, from someone who owns a business called Changing Spaces, believe me, I do not love change. I don't seek it out. I resist it just as much as the next person, but I consider it a gift that we've been able to witness so many families going through such change, and I'm able to see how much better it is for those families who accept the fact that change comes. There's nothing we can do about it. And really our job here on earth, I think, is to just walk each other through those life changes, because we're all going through them constantly, and we will all go through that end of life change at some point.
Sometimes that circle of life closes quickly, but other times it's a slow closing, and that affords us an opportunity, us meaning kids, parents, whoever's involved in this scenario, to be able to plan for that right-sizing time. And wouldn't you say that we are in a time that is opportune for being able to plan ahead, because all we have is time. For some people, all they have is time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to really grasp that time now that we have it, and time with our loved ones, and even if we're socially distanced from our loved ones, to get on a phone call with them, get on a video chat with them, and really spend some time and have some of those most important conversations. Because, boy, one thing I have learned through working as a senior move manager is that even though what we do, we work with stuff and we help people with the stuff and the logistics of downsizing and moving and even dying and clearing out the homes, we deal with the stuff. None of it is really about the stuff, is it? It's all about the relationship and the memories that you create with each other and the stories that you share. And that's something that we should all be doing right now, whether we're in a home with someone or if we're socially distanced from someone. All of those things can be done over the phone, and we can still be communicating with our loved ones while they're still here. I mean, I think everyone who's listening today could think of a loved one that they have lost that they would give anything to talk to and have a conversation with, right? Wouldn't you love to ask your grandfather about his days growing up, when he was a kid? And so many of us can't do that anymore. So
Janine, we are growing our listenership every Sunday morning during these conversations. So for some, people are hearing us for the first time. Describe Rightsizing, what Changing Spaces SRS is an expert at doing.
Sure, absolutely. We help seniors and older adults find that perfect place between too much and too little. Most of the time, those seniors come into our business at a time when they are moving from a larger home to a smaller home. Maybe they're downsizing to a retirement community, and we help them through that whole transition. And that means letting go of the stuff they no longer need, bringing the perfect amount of stuff with them, and helping them to live a successful, happy life for their next chapter, whatever that next chapter will look like.
Tell me about your online auctions. This is new.
Yes, this is new. We help folks move, and then we also run estate sales. We help folks let go of the items they don't want to keep, and we sell those things usually via an in-person estate sale. We get 1,500 to 1,800 people through the door each week at our estate sales. So during this time of social distancing, that's not necessarily possible. So we have actually taken our estate sales online to an online auction format. So if folks are interested, all you have to do is go to our website, changingspacessrs.com, and click on Shop. And there you can find each week we have a new online auction. And what we're doing there is we're selling items for our clients that they no longer need, use, or want. And there's some cool stuff on there. So it's a great way for you to shop safely at home. And then we have low contact or no contact pickup of the auction items after the auction is over.
That's changingspacessrs.com. And while you're there, you can hear past conversations. If you're just joining us for the very first time this weekend, Janine and I have been at this, and we've known each other for years. Conversations that will answer some questions. But while you are at changingspacessrs.com, you can find those answers. And a step-by-step guide to your right-sizing journey is available in your book, Ready to Right Size.
That's right, and you can find a link to that book on our website, changingspacessrs.com. And then I also have another website. It's called easyrightsizing.com, and that has lots of tips for right sizing, videos, blog articles, and downloadable worksheets that are supremely helpful to this transition.
That's right, giving you a positive attitude for a challenging task. Janine Bryant from Changing Spaces SRS, and every Sunday morning we're here on Easy Right Sizing. Have a good weekend, Janine.
Thanks. You too, Dale.